Do you consider yourself a smart woman, yet despite that, you still feel stuck, unhappy, and uncertain? I can feel that way too. But today I want to share with you why we get stuck, but more importantly, how do we get ourselves unstuck? Welcome to the Authority Activator podcast, where you learn how to stop reacting to life and begin owning your life, where you can truly become the authority over your life. And to me, when you can learn how to get yourself unstuck, that is when you begin owning your life and stop reacting. So if we haven't had the pleasure of meeting yet, I'm Connie Jo Holmes. And as a life coach and a hypnotherapist, I know through my hundreds of clients, but also my own personal experience, I know where this starts, where the feeling stuck can start in our life. It starts the day you lost trust in yourself. Allow that to land for just a minute. You got stuck the minute you lost trust in yourself. It began when you felt lost and confused, and instead of sitting with that for a while and figuring it out internally, you went out and you started to talk to a friend. I'm saying you, but I'm also looking myself in the face because I've done this myself. And so we reach out to the friend, and they know us so well, so they give us feedback. But that feedback doesn't quite help in that moment, but yet they're our friend and they know us. So then we think, oh, are they right? Am I wrong? What's going on here? So then that further confuses us, right? So then what happens is we go to another friend and we share with them the story. We share with them why we're feeling stuck. And then that person, because they're a different person with different experiences, and yes, they know us, but they provide further feedback. Well, that feedback now further confuses you. Because it doesn't quite feel right to you. Two, now it might be even polar opposite of what that other friend said to you, and it still isn't sitting right. So then you go to yet a third person. Maybe it's a sibling, maybe it's your partner, whatever it is, but you go to a third person and they say something maybe similar, but yet different. And then that further confuses you. Is this ringing a bell so far? Because I know I have had this many times in my life. And so I need to tell you, these people sharing their thoughts and opinions, they're doing what a friend does, right? Because we've done it to our friends. So they're meaning no ill will to it. But what is happening is all of this feedback is just overwhelming you. Now all of a sudden you have all this noise in your head. And that noise is bouncing around and it's creating you to be confused and stuck and probably frustrated too, because now you just have no idea how to move forward. And so again, none of it was done intentionally, but that is how it started. And again, it started because you didn't trust yourself, so you reached out to others to get their feedback, and their feedback was just too much. My personal example of when this happened to me, this has happened many times, but the one example I want to share is back when I was working corporate America. It was my absolute dream job. It hit every single checkbox you could have as far as the perfect job. And I really thought I would retire there. But one day, as fate would have it, one day I had a boss who came in and she was so difficult, beyond difficult. To paint a picture of how difficult she was, every single one of her direct reports, we all left. We all left. We had to, because I always said I had to leave while I was still smart enough to find the door, because she completely squashed my self-esteem and my self-confidence. And a side note, that's why every single client I work with now, I help them with their self-esteem and their self-confidence, because I realize that me being a very strong person, if somebody could knock me off of my game, it can happen very easily. So we need to have that inside of us and some reserves on top of it. But what ended up happening was I immediately started looking for a new job because I just couldn't stay there despite how much I wanted to. And I started looking, but as I was going through this process, I told myself that, you know what, yeah, I can find another job, but there's potential to be a crappy boss there too. So then I told myself, well, what do I get to do? What can I do right now in this situation to control it the best I can? And to me, the way to control not having a crappy boss was to be my own boss and to promise myself I wouldn't be a crappy boss. So that's exactly what I did. I decided right then and there that I was going to start my own business. I was excited, but I was also very scared. I had never started a business before. So I reached out to a number of friends. If I spoke to Debbie Downer, well, that's her perspective and that's her attitude. She is going to be down and out about everything. And she started to squash my dreams before I could even build my dreams. Well, then I might talk to somebody who's done it before and has a successful business. And so then I get all excited, like, oh my God, they did it. I can do it too. But then I talked to somebody who was very, like the negative Nelly of the world, and basically made me feel like, who do I think I am to be able to start my own business? None of these people did any of this intentionally. It's just their perspective and how they see the world. Well, sure enough, talking to all those different people, it scared me. And so for a while, I didn't start my own business because I had taken everyone's feedback. And sure enough, the negative voices were the loudest ones I allowed to stay in my head. Have you done the same thing? So I just stopped asking people their opinion and I just went quiet one day. And in going quiet, I reminded myself the importance of reconnecting to my personal values. I like to ask my clients a lot, do you have personal values? And, it's kind of 50-50. Some people say yes, some people are like, no, I don't. And even those that say yes, I'm like, okay, well, tell me what they are. But then they can't really tell me. So then, and I'm going to challenge you right now, if you can't right now say what your values are, well, then are they really your values? That is one thing. I have an offer today. It's in the description box, but I actually have a great workbook to help you identify your personal values. And I'm going to tell you, even if you do have personal values, to do this every few years, I think is a great idea because we're always growing and evolving as a person. So I think our values might change a little bit over time. Now, I do put this in this workbook that I'm going to provide to you, but I do think we all probably have a couple of values that stay with us from the day we're born to the day we die. It's just our DNA and our makeup. But I do think there are some values that, depending on where we are at the stage in our life, they might change a little bit. Like as an example, just off the top of my head, there's some people might be more of a risk taker. I'm kind of thinking financially here. Like if you have a financial advisor and they'll ask you these questions, they will say, what is your risk tolerance? Well, when you're younger, at least for me, my risk tolerance was high, especially with my finances, because it's like, oh my gosh, I've got years to catch up on this if it takes a dive. So my risk tolerance was very high, which paid off, by the way. But that's not financial advice at all. So but then now as I'm getting older, because I'm soon to be 56 years old, as I'm getting older, I still have a risk tolerance, but I am leaning more towards that safety end of things, just because I don't have as much time to, catch up, if you will, or to really sock away the volume that I want to, especially if I lost some money. So I'm just using that as an example as far as how our values could change over time. So, and then the other thing I recommend to people in this ebook is to define then what your values mean to you. Because, Merriam-Webster dictionary can tell us what the definition of this word is, but all that matters is how you define it and how you live that value. So I digressed again on that a bit, but that is something so very important and something that I did. I reconnected with my values. What is important to me? Because when you do that, right there allows all the noise to go by the wayside. Because remember, all of those well-meaning friends, they were probably, what's the word I'm looking for? They were probably interjecting, I guess, their values into the situation. Well, you might not have the same values. Or they're telling you some feedback based off of their model of the world and their life experience. So that was the very first thing I did. Reconnected with myself. What are my values? And right there allowed the clutter and the noise to go away. It allowed me to stand full front center in my life. I sat with it after I connected to my values. I just sat there and I closed my eyes. The reason why people suggest closing your eyes, just so you know, is because even though we have five senses, you can argue we have more, but even though we have five senses, which is sight, sound, touch, taste, and smell, it's usually sight, sound, and feeling that is the strongest. So when we ask people to close their eyes, it allows the other senses to come more to life. So just so you know, when people suggest closing your eyes, that's usually why. But anyways, after I connected to my values, I closed my eyes and I just thought about me being my own business owner. And I took myself through many different phases of that, starting the process, sitting down, doing the paperwork. I took myself to, maybe 6 months later when I was getting my first official client that was paying me, that was going through my business bank account. Then I took myself 5 years out and 10 years out and just seeing how my business grew. And I just felt into it. And when I felt into it, I felt a lightness in my body. I felt those butterflies. And I guess I'm just going to say lightness and take with that what you will. And so then I did the opposite. Then I sat there with my eyes closed and I just pictured myself applying for another job, working there for a while, finding out I have a shit boss, going through the process of updating my resume and interviewing and all that kind of stuff, going through that process. And I just sat with that and I felt heavy. I felt icky. So right there, I was talking to myself. I was leaning in. I rediscovered my inner knowing. And that helped me to make that decision. So I share all of this with you because if you are feeling stuck, if you're feeling confused, if you're feeling lost, you do not have to feel that way for long. Turn down the noise. Stop seeking advice and opinions from others. Hole yourself up in a room for an hour. Take that time to do my values workbook. Find out what is important to you in your life. And then with those words and your definition of them, you will carry that in with you to the next part, which is just closing your eyes and thinking about whatever it is that's going on for you right now. And allow yourself in the quietness to feel within, because your body is going to talk to you and is going to let you know at a subconscious level what you need to know. So if you found this helpful, please like, comment, share, and subscribe. If you have any questions, please put it in the comment box below. I do look at all of them and respond to all of them. And just remember that this is the place to learn how to stop reacting to life, to begin learning how to own your life. Become the authority of your life today. So with love, I'll see you at the next episode. Bye.